Marissa had always been the quiet one in the Molina family. Not shy, just quiet in the way a child becomes when she realizes her voice will never be treated as important. Her parents never hit her, never screamed at her, never called her names. Instead, they simply ignored her. Every achievement she reached was dismissed, every fear minimized, every need pushed aside because there was always something more important going on. Her older sisters, Leanna and Maxine, fit perfectly into the polished image her parents wanted the world to see. Perfect daughters with perfect grades, perfect smiles, and perfectly curated lives. And Marissa? She didn't fit the picture. Or so she was told. She felt it every time her father forgot to pick her up from school activities. Every time her mother said, "You're strong, you don't need attention." Every time her sisters shoveled chores onto her shoulders and laughed. When she didn't complain, that's how neglect works. Not through cruelty, but through silence. Through being unseen, through being the ghost in your own home. At 13, she learned something important. No one was coming to save her. But she also learned something even more important. She could save herself. It started small. Marissa began taking tutoring jobs for classmates, charging a little money under the table. She saved everything. She learned how to cook, clean, manage her time, and keep her grades high without help from anyone. And when she won academic awards, her family didn't go to the ceremonies. They were busy. She stood alone on the stage each time, hearing applause from strangers who seemed more proud of her than the people she lived with. But she refused to cry. Not there. Not in front of anyone. She saved her tears for her room, where she buried her face in her pillow so no one would hear. She trained herself to be silent, to never complain, to never need. At 16, she secretly applied for scholarships. All of them. And when she won one, full ride, living stipend, research opportunity, she waited. She wanted to see if her parents would care. "Mom," she said one evening while her mother scrolled on her phone, "I got a full scholarship." Her mother didn't look up. "That's nice. It's a big one. It covers housing." A few seconds later, "Don't forget to do your sister's laundry before you go to sleep." That night, Marissa sat on her bed and stared at the acceptance letter. Not with joy, but with clarity. If she stayed here, she would drown. If she left, she might learn how to breathe. So she packed quietly early in the morning, leaving a note that said only, "Thank you for raising me. I'll take it from here." She didn't expect them to chase after her. They didn't. College became her sanctuary. For the first time, people noticed her. Professors praised her. Friends enjoyed her company. She learned to laugh, awkwardly at first, then freely. She built a life without them. 4 years passed. She never went home for holidays. Her family never visited. Her sisters never called. Her parents never asked how she was doing. And strangely, that distance hurt less than their presence ever had. After graduation, she got a research job with a respected institute, moved into her own apartment, and began shaping a life defined by her choices, not by absence. Years went by. She built a career, built confidence, built her identity. She even met Noah, a man who actually listened when she spoke, who valued her intelligence, who didn't treat her silence as a burden, but as a language he wanted to learn. For the first time, someone chose her simply for being her. Then, just when she no longer needed her family, they suddenly needed her. It started with a text from her mother after almost 7 years of silence. "Hi, honey. How are you?" Marissa stared at the screen, confused. She responded politely. A minute later, 3 more messages came. "Your father got laid off. We're struggling. Financially. Your sisters moved back home. Things are very difficult here." And then the real reason. "We're so proud of you. You've accomplished so much. Maybe you can visit soon. We've missed you." Missed her? They didn't even know who she was. She didn't respond. Weeks later, her sister Leanna sent a message. "Mom says you make really good money now. We're having trouble with bills. Can you help?" And Maxine added, "You owe the family at least that." Owe them? That was the moment a cold, bitter truth formed like stone in her chest. They didn't want her. They wanted her success. They wanted the daughter they didn't bother raising to suddenly save them. But for the first time in her life, she didn't feel powerless. She felt angry, and anger, real anger, was a language she had never been allowed to speak. Until now. And that was how her revenge began, not with violence, not with cruelty, but with something far more devastating: the truth. But truth alone wasn't enough. She needed a plan, one that would make her family finally see her, not as the quiet girl they ignored, but as the woman she became without them. One that would show the world the truth about the Molina family's golden image, one that would make them regret turning their backs on her. She didn't want to destroy them. Not at first. She wanted them to understand. But when she visited home for the first time in 10 years, she discovered things were much worse and much uglier than the messages hinted. And revenge stopped being optional. It became necessary. Marissa hadn't stepped foot in her parents' house since she was 19. As she pulled into the driveway, now cracked, weeded, and uneven, she felt like she was walking into a memory she no longer belonged to. The once perfect Molina home looked exhausted, like even the walls had given up pretending. She knocked. Her mother opened the door, eyes wide, plastering a smile that didn't reach her cheeks. "Marissa! Oh, sweetie, you came!" She hugged her like she was greeting a long-lost daughter she cherished deeply. Marissa stiffened. The affection felt performative, like a poorly rehearsed scene, in a play she didn't audition for. Inside, chaos greeted her. Boxes stacked everywhere, bills scattered across the dining table, clothes draped over furniture, and her sisters, Leanna and Maxine, sitting on the couch scrolling, their phones like they were royalty on a sinking ship. "Look who decided to show up," Leanna muttered without looking up. "About time," Maxine added. The disrespect washed over Marissa like cold water. They hadn't changed. Not at all. Her mother gestured dramatically at the mess. "Things have been so hard. Your father, well, he's doing the best he can." Her father appeared from the hallway, gray and tired. "Marissa," he said with forced warmth, "you look successful." "I am." She didn't sugarcoat it. She let the weight of her success settle into the room, the same room where she once felt invisible. They sat at the dining table. Her mother wasted no time. "We're behind on mortgage payments, and utilities, and the car loan, and," Maxine cut in, "so obviously you're going to help. I mean, you make more than all of us combined." "You owe the family," Leanna repeated her earlier message, like a script she memorized. Marissa opened the folder she brought. Inside was a printed document, a financial request form she created herself. She slid it across the table calmly. "Fill that out," her mother frowned. "What is this? A transparency agreement? If you want my help, I need to understand your income, debt, and expenses." "We're family," her father snapped defensively. "We don't need paperwork." Marissa leaned back in her chair. "Then you don't need my money." Silence. Heavy, thick, suffocating. For the first time, they looked at her. Not through her, not past her, but at her. Like she was someone with authority. Someone they needed. Someone with power. Good. She intended to use it. Leanna scoffed. "You're being dramatic." "I'm being responsible," Marissa replied. "Something no one taught me, so I taught myself." She let that line sit in the air. It hit harder than any insult. Her mother tried to guilt trip her. "We raised you. We gave you everything." Marissa met her eyes. "You gave me a roof. But you didn't give me attention. Or support. Or love." A stunned silence fell. Her father clenched his jaw. "We did our best." "No," Marissa said softly. "You did your best for them." She nodded toward her sisters. "Not for me." The truth flickered across her mother's face. Not denial this time, but discomfort. Maybe even guilt. But guilt wouldn't solve anything. Her sisters looked irritated, not remorseful. Leanna rolled her eyes. "Whatever. Look, Mom and Dad are drowning in debt. The least you can do is bail them out. You're literally the only one with money." Marissa noticed something. Neither sister had a job. Not even part-time. They were living at home, fully dependent, still acting like princesses waiting for someone else to clean up their messes. She turned to her father. Why aren't they working? He hesitated. They haven't found the right opportunities. Translation, Marissa said. They don't want jobs, Maxine snapped. Why should we work crappy jobs when you're out there making bank? We're family. Family shares. Family, Marissa repeated. Interesting word choice. Because family didn't help me when I needed it. Now suddenly the rules change? Her mother sighed dramatically, wiping non-existent tears. We're asking you nicely. No, Marissa said, voice steady. You're using me. She saw their expressions shift. Anger, disbelief, entitlement. And that's when she realized something. They didn't just expect her help. They expected control. They wanted to latch onto her. Success like parasites feeding off blood they didn't bleed for. Her father placed a hand on hers. Sweetheart, I know we made mistakes, but we need you. Just this once. The touch triggered something deep inside her, memories. Of every time she had reached out and he hadn't been there. She pulled her hand back. I'll help, she said slowly, watching hope spark in their eyes. But not the way you expect. Her sisters smirked triumphantly. Finally, Maxine muttered. Here's my plan, Marissa said. First, I'm hiring a financial auditor. What? Her mother gasped. Second, I'm putting the house under review. Third, all unnecessary spending stops immediately. Fourth, you two, she pointed at her sisters. We'll get jobs. The explosion was instant. You can't control us? Maxine shrieked. You're not the boss of this house, Leanna snapped. You can't just come back after 10 years and act superior. Marissa remained calm. You asked for my help. This is the condition. Her father slammed his fist on the table. We are your parents. You respect us. Respect, she said quietly, is earned. That sentence silenced the room like a slap. She stood. Fill out the forms. All of you. I'll return in a week. She left the house without looking back. As she sat in her car, her hands were shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline, power. She finally felt it. For the first time, she wasn't the invisible daughter. She wasn't the quiet one. She wasn't the afterthought. She was the one in control. And her family hated it. Good, because she wasn't done. This wasn't just about helping them or refusing them. This was about exposing the truth, for herself, for the relatives who always praised the perfect Molina family, and for every person who had ever been overshadowed by golden children. Her revenge wasn't cruel. It was just overdue. But what she didn't know yet, what she was about to discover, was that her family's dysfunction went far deeper than neglect. They hadn't just ignored her. They had erased her. And once she uncovered the secrets they kept hidden for years, her revenge plan would evolve into something far bigger, far sharper, and far more devastating. Not just for them, but for the entire Molina legacy. A week later, Marissa returned to the Molina house. She expected resistance, maybe half-filled forms, maybe excuses. She wasn't prepared for what she actually found. Boxes, dozens of them, filled with her childhood belongings. Trophies she won. Certificates she earned. Drawings she made. Journals she had written in. All stuffed into cardboard like trash. Her mother stood by the boxes, not ashamed in the slightest. We're decluttering, she announced. Making space so the auditor doesn't think we're irresponsible, Leanna shrugged. We figured we should start by getting rid of your stuff. You never came back for it. Marissa felt something inside her snap, not loudly, but cleanly, like a bone that had been fractured for years, finally breaking all the way through. Where were these kept? She asked quietly. Maxine smirked. Attic, they were just taking up space. Honestly, we should have thrown them away a long time ago. She didn't cry. Not this time. She simply said, Where are the forms? Her father pointed lazily at the dining table. She sifted through them. Blanks. Missing. Information. Lies, her. Sisters hadn't filled out anything. Her parents only wrote partial numbers. Hiding debt. Hiding spending. Hiding everything. This isn't transparency, Marissa said calmly. This is manipulation, her father stood. You show up, demand paperwork, and act like we're criminals. You hid my belongings in the attic, she cut in. You hid debt. You hid the truth. And you expect me to fix everything with no accountability. Her mother's voice rose, sharp and bitter. You think you're better than us because you left? Because you made money? Don't forget who raised you. Marissa turned to her. Raised me? You tolerated me. You raised them. She nodded at her sisters. You poured everything into their accomplishments while pretending I was fine because I didn't cause trouble. You were fine, her mother insisted. You were independent. I was neglected, Marissa corrected. And you mistook that for strength. The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. Then Leanna spoke. Are you helping us or not? No, Marissa said. Her mother's eyes widened. What? I'm not helping you. Not financially. Not emotionally. Not logistically, Maxine scoffed. So you came here just to judge us? No, Marissa said. I came here to tell the truth. She pulled out her phone and placed it on the table. I recorded everything. Their faces turned pale. You what? Her father sputtered. You can't record us? I already did, she said. And I'm sending it to the family group chat. Her mother stepped forward, panicked. Marissa, don't do this, please. For years, she said. I kept your secrets. I protected your image. I let the world believe you were wonderful parents. But not anymore. She hit send. Within seconds, messages exploded across the Molina relatives group. Wait, they made you do all the chores? They didn't go to any of your ceremonies? They put your awards in the attic? They're asking you for money. This is disgusting. Her mother's phone buzzed relentlessly. Her father's, too. Her sisters stared as notifications poured in. Judgment, disappointment, anger, shame from every aunt, uncle, cousin, and grandparent in the family. Her father's face turned red. You ruined us. Marissa met his eyes. No, you ruined yourselves. I just stopped protecting you. Maxine lunged toward her. You bitch! Marissa stepped back. Touch me and I'll add that to the recording, Leanna hissed. You think everyone's on your side now? You think this makes you the hero? No, Marissa said softly. I'm not a hero. I'm someone you should have valued when you had the chance. Her mother began to cry, real tears now, but Marissa wasn't moved. It wasn't grief. It was fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of consequences. Fear of being seen for what they truly were. We're your family, her mother sobbed. Please, don't abandon us. Marissa looked at the boxes of her childhood, at the home that had never been home, at the people who only remembered her when they needed something. You abandoned me first. Her father tried one last tactic, anger. If you leave now, don't ever come back. She walked toward the door. That was the plan. As she stepped outside, her mother shouted after her. What are we supposed to do? Marissa paused at the threshold, looked over her shoulder and said, The same thing I did at 13. Figure it out without me. She closed the door behind her. The click echoed like the final note of a song that had taken too long to end. She didn't look back, not once. Not even when her sisters screamed her name. Not even when her father yelled. Not even when her mother cried. She got into her car, drove away, and breathed. She expected guilt. She expected sadness. Instead, she felt weightless, like she had finally set down a burden she'd been carrying since childhood. That night, she went home, sat on her couch, and opened one of the dusty journals her family nearly threw away. Inside was a message she had written to her future self when she was 12. If no one sees you, see yourself. She closed the journal. Tears finally came, not from pain, but from release. She didn't destroy her family. She simply stopped letting them destroy her. And that was her revenge. Not anger, not cruelty, freedom, because sometimes the most powerful revenge is walking away, letting people choke on the consequences they created and living a life they never believed you could build. She built that life. Without them. And she would keep building it. For herself. For the 12-year-old who wrote that message, for the woman who finally believed it.